Welcome back to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. We take those complex ideas and, well, try to boil them down into something useful. Today we're diving into a question that feels almost radical, maybe, in this world obsessed with speed.
Like speed and visibility.
Exactly. And the question is, what if the true measure of success isn't how quickly something catches on, but how deeply it actually takes root?
That's precisely the mission for this deep dive. We're going to unpack the profound wisdom of what our sources call deep planting. And this isn't just for one field, right? It applies to leadership, organizations, community work, really any endeavor. What's truly fascinating, I think, is how these timeless concepts really challenge a lot of today's common metrics for success. Our goal here is really just to give you a clear understanding, a shortcut, if you will, to cultivating influence that actually endures.
And the core of this, it seems, is something the sources call the seed phase.
Yes, a seed phase.
Which isn't just like prep work before the real work starts.
You know, that's the key insight. It's not seen as pre-work. It is the work. It's that unseen, often overlooked period of intentional preparation, building deep relationships, setting that profound purpose.
Okay.
And we'll explore why skipping this phase, well, it often leads to initiatives that just crumble under pressure.
Right.
But embracing it means participating in what they call a timeless way of working. Hidden, faithful, and truly transformative.
Hidden, faithful, transformative.
Yeah.
Because so many of us, I mean, in almost any field, we're relentlessly chasing that immediate impact. We see momentum, we see visibility, and we think, okay, that's effectiveness. Seeing those numbers climb, those likes roll in.
The quick wins.
Yeah, the quick wins. It feels like progress, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
But our sources are suggesting this is often a tempting shortcut, almost like an organizational mirage. It can lead us astray.
Indeed. Our sources, they really reframe this completely. They define the seed phase not as some preliminary step, but as the core work itself.
Work itself.
Exactly. This period is crucial for that deep preparation, for thoughtful strategizing, and really importantly, for building genuine relationships. Those form the bedrock. Neglect that. You risk building something that, yeah, it might look impressive, but it just crumbles under pressure, as they say.
Right.
But if you embrace it, you position yourself to cultivate something that endures, transforms, and multiplies across generations. It creates a legacy far beyond just those superficial metrics.
It's just so easy to get caught in that trap, though. The sheer pace, the constant demand for visibility. I mean, it's everywhere today, the digital economy.
Oh, absolutely.
It makes it incredibly tempting to just bypass that foundational work.
It does.
You know, social media metrics, flashy campaigns, the lure of instant recognition.
Right.
It's all shouting for attention.
Right.
And it pulls leaders away from the quiet, sometimes painstaking work that really matters for long-term health.
Yeah.
How do we even resist that pull?
Well, I think understanding the stakes helps. Frankly, they're higher than we often acknowledge. Think about it. The health of communities, the resilience of families, the future of whole organizations. The integrity of what's planted today profoundly impacts tomorrow. So investing deeply in those roots now, that's what yields the influence, the impact, the sustainability that far outlasts the latest trends.
So it's infrastructure versus facade.
That's a great way to put it. Building a robust infrastructure for a thriving future, not just, decorating a temporary facade.
Okay, you've laid out the why for deep roots really clearly, but to really get a handle on this, our sources use some powerful analogies. This is where it gets interesting.
They do, and they're profoundly illuminating. Consider that timeless metaphor, you find it in ancient texts, of a tree planted by streams of water.
Right, I know that one.
Yeah, and that wisdom teaches us that enduring success isn't measured by how fast something shoots up, but by its deep, resilient rootedness. Like that tree, there's this invisible network of roots anchoring, nourishing, sustaining life beneath the soil. The most critical growth often happens unseen, below the surface.
Even if the leaves aren't fluttering immediately.
Exactly. That hidden effort is what provides the strength to weather any storm.
And these insights, they're echoed in so many ancient parables. You mentioned Jesus' stories about seeds.
Yes, powerfully so.
Like the sower or the mustard seed. They're not just quaint tales, are they?
Not at all. They highlight how the tiniest of seeds grows into the largest of garden plants, providing shelter and life.
Wow.
It vividly illustrates that the hidden, often overlooked work of early investment, whether that's, personal development, diligent planning, fostering key relationships, that actually becomes the robust framework for enduring impact.
So the small hidden things build the big structure.
Precisely. And what's also fascinating here is what our sources call the spiritual economy of patience.
Okay, the spiritual economy of patience. What's that?
It's this profound idea that true, meaningful transformation often requires deliberate, active waiting, like a master craftsman patiently refining their work. Ancient texts speak of land that drinks in rain and bears useful crops, versus land that only yields thorns. This isn't about being passive, it's active faithfulness.
Active faithfulness. I like that.
Yeah, it's about doing the necessary work, trusting the process, and understanding that some outcomes just cannot be rushed.
That makes perfect sense. It reminds me of that observation, one person plants and other waters, but the growth comes from elsewhere.
Exactly. That underscores a profound principle.
Yeah.
Our effort is essential, yes, absolutely. But true transformative impact often arises from a deeper alignment. Alignment with forces maybe beyond our immediate control, call it timing, providence, the natural order of things.
Whatever you call it, it's bigger than just our hustle.
Right. And our sources point out that these waiting periods are essential spiritual training grounds.
Training grounds.
Yeah. It's often in these quiet, unseen seasons away from the spotlight that true leadership is refined. Character, resilience, vision. They're often forged in those hidden moments, preparing a leader for the long haul.
Okay, so this leads to what the sources call a core transformation, a critical mindset shift, moving beyond just the surface stuff. So what does this all mean for how we actually do our work, how we lead? How do we rethink success?
Yeah, this is defined as a fundamental shift from transactional to transformational thinking.
Transactional to transformational.
Okay, true. Lasting change, as our sources highlight, it doesn't begin with the external metrics or the quick fixes. It starts with internal realities. There's ancient wisdom that reminds us the heart is deceitful above all things, which kind of underscores that profound, sustainable transformation always starts from within. And that shapes our approach to everything else.
That's a powerful insight, because when we prioritize speed or visibility, we risk creating things, initiatives, companies, whatever, that might look impressive, sure,
Right.
but ultimately lack those deep roots. Our sources remind us that true fruitfulness comes from abiding, from deep connection and sustained presence, not just from hurried, frantic effort.
It's about being truly connected to the source of impact, not just, frantically producing for external validation.
Makes sense.
And this leads us to what our sources call the human-centered, spirit-led dynamics of lasting ministry, or you could say lasting impact in any field.
Human-centered, spirit-led.
Yeah. This approach is fundamentally about people, not programs or processes. It emphasizes investing deeply in individuals, fostering genuine relationships. Paul's example of pouring into his community leaders is often cited as a powerful case study here. It shows how this creates an environment that's resilient, adaptive, relationally grounded,
Okay.
built on real connection and mutual support.
Okay. And what about tools and methods? Where do they fit in? Our sources talk about innovation with purpose.
Right. Technology, structures, tools, they're incredibly powerful, absolutely. But the sources argue only when they serve a clear purpose, not when they distract from it.
Purpose-driven tools.
Exactly. Think about those ancient artisans crafting sacred spaces. They weren't just striving for aesthetic perfection for its own sake. They were meticulously building to facilitate worship. The ultimate purpose profoundly guided their craft and design. The why drove the how.
The why drove the how.
Okay. And what's truly fascinating here is how this connects to legacy. Legacy, according to our sources, is simply the natural outcome of deep roots.
It's not something you aim for directly. It just happens.
It emerges from the depth. We see countless historical examples, leaders who waited decades for a promise, individuals who endured years in obscurity, just diligently preparing, even pivotal figures who spent decades preparing quietly before their public work even began.
Wow.
These hidden investments ultimately manifest. They show up as transformation long after the initial labor seems invisible.
Okay, so this deep planting approach sounds incredibly powerful, but it can't be easy. Our sources acknowledge challenges, right? The road isn't always smooth.
Oh, absolutely not. And it's crucial to acknowledge that up front. But our sources explain challenges in a different light. Not signs of failure, but invitations to align more fully with enduring principles.
Invitations to align.
Okay. Yeah. Think of the ancient leader who wrote, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed." Challenges are actually the crucibles that refine leaders, communities, and
It's a
organizations.
crucible.
Exactly. They transform them into vessels capable of sustaining long-term impact. They're part of the growth process, not an indication something's wrong.
And one of the biggest challenges has to be that pull of short-term thinking. We talked about it earlier.
It's huge.
Modern metrics, quarterly earnings, social media stats, quick client wins. They're so alluring because they offer that immediate, visible proof of something.
Right. Proof of activity, at least.
Yeah. But there's that timeless parable about the different soils, warning against shallow roots that lead to burnout or superficial gains that just wither under real pressure.
And this raises a key question. What about growth? Isn't growth good? Our sources address this tension of scaling with integrity.
Scaling with integrity, okay.
Growth is desirable, sure, but it carries significant risk if not managed well. History consistently shows that movements or organizations built without that foundational integrity are inherently fragile.
Mm.
Rapid expansion might impress people in the short term, but only deep roots ensure real endurance. You see this in historical accounts of groups whose swift progress lacked adherence to core principles, leading to, well, repeated failures.
Then there's what they call the challenge of authenticity.
Yes, this is a big one too.
Cultural pressures, competitive pressures.
Yeah.
And they often tempt leaders to just imitate models that seem successful elsewhere.
Copy-paste leadership.
Yeah. Instead of cultivating a unique, purpose-driven vision for their own specific context.
Right. And authentic leadership requires courage. The courage to be contextually faithful while staying true to your core mission. It's about building genuine trust, leading with integrity, not just chasing fleeting popularity by compromising who you are.
So how do you hold firm amidst all that?
Well, our sources emphasize anchoring amid pressure. There's this powerful promise referenced, I will build my endeavor, and the forces of opposition shall not prevail against it. That mindset transforms obstacles.
Okay.
When pressures mount, the work isn't about just muscling through challenges in your own strength. It's about remaining deeply rooted in your core purpose, your values, finding that unwavering resilience there.
So ultimately, these challenges, they become catalysts for legacy.
Exactly. That hidden preparation we talked about, the perseverance needed under pressure, the courage of spirit-led authenticity, it all works together. It ensures that what's built today actually endures.
So challenges aren't just roadblocks. They're opportunities.
Vital opportunities for growth, for deepening trust, and for demonstrating the power of those deeply rooted principles, often in really unexpected ways.
Okay, this is incredibly insightful. But we need to make it practical. How do we move from understanding this to actually doing it?
Right, because ideas, prayers, strategies, they're powerful seeds, yes. But our sources remind us they remain inert unless planted, nurtured, and tended. Knowledge without application is just, well, dormant potential.
Exactly. So let's get into the actionable stuff. Our sources provide some really concrete, practical next steps for you, the listener, to start deep planting today. Okay, first up, establish a rhythm of intentional reflection.
Reflection.
Yeah. Just like wise leaders throughout history often withdrew for focused thought, for renewal, actually schedule time for it. Daily, weekly blocks, whatever works. Intentional quiet, maybe prayer, strategic thinking. It's not passive. It's like dynamic partnership with your deeper purpose.
So making space for it. Got it.
Second, conduct a readiness audit. It sounds formal, but it's about honest assessment before action.
Okay.
Use diagnostic tools, or maybe just simple, honest questions. Assess your team's cohesion, your shared purpose, skill alignment, organizational readiness for whatever that next big step is. You've got to genuinely know your strengths and where you need to grow first.
Know thyself, organizationally speaking.
Kind of, yeah. Third, develop your stakeholder plan. This is about building trust through transparency.
Communication.
Right. Draft a clear rhythm of updates for your partners, your clients, your supporters. Be transparent about the challenges, the uncertainties, and the successes. That open communication builds trust, strengthens relationships, even when things feel tough.
Super important. What's next?
Fourth, immerse yourself in the community. This is about authentic presence over visibility.
Okay, less broadcasting, more being there.
Exactly. Identify one consistent practice of deep community engagement. Maybe it's weekly presence in a key local spot. Maybe it's active listening sessions. The focus is genuinely listening, serving, building trust through consistent, authentic presence, not just showing up for photo ops.
It makes sense.
And finally, number 5, equip for lasting impact. Train your team. Give them the skills and the mindset for long-term positive change. Provide practical training. Now use role-playing, mentoring, Scenario-based learning, whatever builds their capacity for meaningful engagement and sustainable contributions down the road, prepare them for the harvest, so to speak.
That's a great list. And what's fascinating here is that even with these very practical steps, our sources heavily emphasize staying connected.
Right.
It's not a solo journey.
Never.
Yeah.
No significant endeavor is. This means actively engaging in, say, networks of peers or mentors, finding places for shared wisdom, mutual encouragement.
Learning from others on the same path.
Exactly. It also means prioritizing ongoing training, viewing lifelong learning, not just as professional development, but as a kind of continuous discipline, always seeking to grow in understanding and skill. And critically, forming peer learning groups, places for real accountability, for relational depth. Because, as the proverb says, iron sharpens iron and one person sharpens another.
That accountability piece is huge.
It is. And don't forget, celebrating milestones, strengthening the vision by regularly reflecting on progress, on lessons learned. It fuels the journey. Good point.
And perhaps underpinning all of this, remaining teachable, cultivating humility and connection, remembering that true wisdom often comes from listening and being open. These connections are what transform isolation into real collaboration and anxiety into resilience.
So these practical actions plus that genuine connection, that's the combination. It transforms isolation into collaboration, anxiety into discernment. It helps ensure your efforts aren't just effective in the short term, but actually enduring.
Well said. To bring it all together then, the future of any enduring work, whether it's a business, a ministry, a community project, it probably won't be defined by the fastest launches or the flashiest campaigns. It'll likely be defined by those willing to plant deeply, nurture faithfully, and remain present authentically among the people they serve. Really is a profound shift in perspective.
And the incredible thing is, the potential, the seeds for that kind of enduring impact, they're in your hands right now. The soil awaits. This deep dive, it's really an invitation, isn't it? To think beyond the immediate numbers, to step into a process that's as much about profound purpose as it is about smart strategy. And ultimately, to leave a legacy that truly transcends the next quarterly report or funding cycle.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought to consider, drawn from the sources. If you could plant something today that shaped entire generations tomorrow, wouldn't you do it? How might your leadership, your approach, your daily decisions change if you consistently prioritize depth over speed and faithfulness over fleeting flash?
That is definitely a question worth pondering. Thank you so much for unpacking all of this for us.
My pleasure.
And thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We really encourage you to reflect on these powerful principles and think about how you might apply them in your own life, your own work. Until next time, keep digging deep.